Okay, we're starting in the Gemara on Daf Tesvav Amud Beis. We're holding where it says Klis Choches. So this goes back to a Gzeira that Yosi ben Yoyezer and Yosi ben Yochanan made, that Klis Choches becomes Tameh. As we mentioned when we learned it then, in Torah it doesn't mention anything about Klis Choches. It mentions Kli Matches, there's metal kalim, and there's Kli Cheres, earthenware kalim. When it comes to Klis Choches, it's not mentioned in the Torah B'chlal. So the question is, what status does Klis Choches have? Does it have a status like a Kli Cheres, or does it have a status like a Kli Matches? And what's the source of the Tumah? So let's see first inside. Dr. Gemara, Klis Choches, when it comes to glass kalim, my time gozabuhu rabbanon tumah. What's the reason for the tumah that Chachamim were geyser? Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Amar Reish Lakish, Hayil v'tchilas briyasan menachayil. Since you make glass kalim from sand, shavinu rabbanon kli cheres. So the rabbanon made it tamei like a kli cheres, which is also earthenware. It's similar to kli cheres, so they made it tamei like kli cheres. So now, if so, the assumption is that the halacha of Klis Choches should be the same as kli cheres. There's a few details where Kli Cheres and Kli Matches are different in the halacha of Tumah. Number one, Kli Matches in a few cases is more chomer than a Kli Cheres. A Kli Matches is metame even from the outside.
Kli Matches is
metal. Metal kalim are metame from the outside. Kli Cheres, earthenware, are only metame from the inside. Kli Matches, a metal keli, is metame even if it's flatware. Kli Cheres, earthenware, is only metame if it has a receptacle, if it's like a bowl or a pot, something that has a makabel inside. Another thing where there's another difference between Kli Matches and Kli Cheres is that a Kli Cheres, if it becomes tameh, the only thing you can do with it is you have to break it. If you break it and then you want to reform it again, then you could be metayed it that way. A Kli Matches, a metal keli, you tavel in the mikveh. Tavel it in the mikveh, and by night it's tar, you can use it. There might be something else that I'm missing. We'll see along the Gemara as we go over here the differences between a metal keli and an earthenware keli. And right now the assumption is, because the whole gzeira of a Klis Choches is that it's similar to a Kli Cheres, so it has the same halacha as a Kli Cheres. Frag the Gemara. If so, loitehela tare b'mikveh, a Klis Choches, a glass keli, should have the same halacha as an earthenware, and it shouldn't be able to become tied in a mikveh. Allah matnan. Why did we learn in a Mishnah regarding a Klis Choches, regarding a glass keli? Ve'elu chaytitzen b'keli b'kelim. This will be a chatzitza in kelim. Hazefes v'hamoir. Zefes is musk and moir is, I forgot the exact English translation right now. Zefes and moir are two materials that get stuck to the Klis Choches, and because they're stuck to the Klis Choches, when you toivel them, it's a chatzitza. It separates from the water and the keli, and it's not going to be tar for the mikveh. So, what do we see right over here? A clear Mishnah that says that a Klis Choches, a glass keli, you could toivel in the mikveh. So how can we say that the Klis Choches has the same halacha as earthenware? And for the Gemara, this Mishnah is talking about a very specific case of a Klis Choches that you could toivel in the mikveh. Hacha b'may askinon. What is this Mishnah talking about? Kogain shenikvai. This is a Klis Choches that has a hole in it. V'hitif l'toichan avar, and he poured into this hole of the glass keli avar, which is lead. So he plugged up the hole with lead, which is considered to be a kind of metal. So now the Klis Choches itself has a hole and it can't be used. It's only possible for it to be used because it was plugged up with some metal. So Rab Meir, this follows the opinion of Rab Meir that says the Amar Hakoil Hoylech Achar HaMaimeh. The status of the keli follows what is maintaining the use of the keli, which in this case is the lead, which is covering up the hole. So therefore, according to Rab Meir, this klis chuches that the Mishnah is talking about over here, that you're being toivelet in the mikveh, is talking specifically about a klis chuches that has lead in it that plugs up a hole, and that can be toivelet in a mikveh. What's the source of Rab Meir's opinion? The Tanya we learned in Abraise, klis chuches shenikvu. A klis chuches, a glass keli that has a hole in it. V'hitif l'toichan avar. And he plugged it up with lead. Rab Shimon ben Gamliel, Rab Meir metame. Rab Meir says that this keli is tame. Meaning, even though it has a hole, and usually a keli that has a hole is not a keli anymore, and it's not tame, but because he plugged up the hole, so therefore it becomes tame. So we see that Rab Meir holds that we follow the fact that it was plugged up with that lead, and now it becomes tame. So the whole keli has a status like that lead that plugs up the hole, and you could toivel it into the mikveh as well. The Chachamim metarin, but however the Chachamim disagree. The Chachamim say that this keli is toy. Now there's a machlokes of Rashi and Tosfos what Chachamim metarin means. According to Rashi, Chachamim metarin means literally, since this klis chuches has a hole in it, so therefore it's not a keli anymore. The fact that you plugged it up with lead does not make it a keli, and it's not a keli, so it's toy completely. Tosfos holds Chachamim metarin means Chachamim are metair min atayra. Because it has a hole and you're plugging it up, min atayra it'll be toy, but midrabanan it'll still be tame. Either way, what we see is that according to the Chachamim, we don't follow the status of the lead which plugged up the hole. According to Rab Meir, we do, and therefore that's what the Mishnah before that mentioned toiveling a klis chuches is talking about when a person is toiveling a glass keli that was being plugged up with lead. Now the Gemara continues to challenge this from another Mishnah. So again, our assumption over here is we're comparing a glass keli to a kli cheres, to earthenware. But if so, there's a question from another Mishnah. A klis chuches should not become tamei from the outside surface. As I mentioned before, a metal keli becomes tamei on the outside surface. A kli cheres does not become tamei on the outside surface. So Allah matanan, why did we learn in a Mishnah in Kalim kli cheres or kli neser? Earthenware and kli neser, which is also a type of earthenware which is made out of some kind of a white material. Rashi says there's actually a big machlokes rishonim what exactly kli neser is. Some say it's some kind of a chalk, some say it's some kind of a white sand. There's a few opinions about this. Either way, it's some kind of an earthenware. Tumas and shove, these two have the same kind of a tumah. Mitamon, they become tamei. They receive the tumah, umetamin, and they cause tumah, me'avireyen, from the inside, only from the inside of the keli. If the tumah comes on the inside, this is a unique thing about a kli cheres. If I didn't mention it before clearly, let me clarify it again. That if you have a sheretz that's hanging, dangling in the ear space of the kli cheres, even without touching the kli cheres, it becomes tamei. That's a special chumrah of a kli cheres. Even if it doesn't touch it, if it's dangling on the inner space of it, it makes it tamei. And also, if then this kli cheres is tamei, and then there's a piece of food that's hanging in the ear space of the kli cheres, that piece of bread will become tamei. So the kli cheres receives tumah from its ear space and causes tumah in its ear space. That's what it means over here. Mitamin, it becomes tamei, umitamin and causes tumah, me avireyen, from the ear space. Umitamin me achirehen. And also, there could be a case where the kli cheres becomes tamei from the outside, even though we said that it doesn't become tamei on the outside surface. But you have sometimes an example where it could become tamei, and the Rishonim give the example. Let's say you have a cup that it's on a stand. It's on a goblet that's on a stand, and then sometimes you turn over on the bottom and it has some kind of a cavity inside. On the bottom of that stand, there's some kind of a cavity. That cavity over there is like a little space inside. Even on the outside surface, if a sheretz went into that area, it makes it tamei, even though it's on the outside. That's what a machirein means here. But ve'ein metamin migabeyan. Any other kind of tumah that comes in contact with any other part of the outside surface where there's no cavity on the outside, it does not become tamei. Shvirasan mitarasan. And the only way to make it toyer again, it can't be toivel in the mikveh, you have to break it. So, this is the Mishnah. Now the Gemara is medayik. Kli neser, a kli cheres. The Mishnah here only mentions these two. The kli neser and kli cheres, the earthenware. Who the tumasam shava? They have the equal halacha of tumah. But we can see from here anything else, including glassware, loy, does not have the same halacha as this. It's not included in this list in the Mishnah. Why doesn't it include glassware if glass has the same halacha as a kli cheres? So the Gemara answers, Amri, the answer was given that we must say that kli schuches, glassware, has a chumrah, and we do compare it to metal, legabe the halacha of becoming tamei on the outside. There's a comparison of a glass to a metal. What happens if you break glass? You can take that glass and you can recycle it. You can reuse the glass again and make a new keli out of it. So therefore, shavinu keklimatches. The chachamim were machmer in one detail that it should be like a klimatches. What happens with the klimatches, a metal keli that gets ruined? You could also melt it and remake a keli again, also recycle it again. So because in this aspect it's the same as a klimatches, so therefore they were machmer that just like a klimatches becomes tamei on the outside surface, a klischuches should also become tamei on the outside surface. So this is one exception, b'nigeya, to the klimatches because it has this similarity to the klimatches.
The klischuches has this.
It's the chuches, the glass has this comparison to the klimatches. So the Gemara says, if you're saying that it's similar to the metal, so they were machmer, that it should be similar like metal, so yachseru l'tumasan yeshana keklimatches. There should be something else, maybe, that we should also be stringent on glass, that it should be similar to metal. What's this chumrah? So this is an additional chumrah that metal kalim have midrabanan. Not minat Torah, but midrabanan. And we learned about this once in Masechta Brachos. What happens if you have a metal keli that was broken, but then you assembled it back together? You reassembled it. So once you reassemble it, if it was tamei before you broke it, before you took it apart, and you reassembled it, the original tumah that was there before comes back. That's a chumrah that we find by kli matches. So the Gemara is now going to ask that if kli schuches has a comparison to kli matches, chacham or machmer, that it should have the chumras of kli matches, let's apply this chumrah as well. So what does it say? The Tanan, we learned in a Mishnah, kli matches, metal kalim, pshuteyen, whether it's flat kalim, umekableyen, whether it's like a bowl, a pot that you can has a receptacle. Tmeyen become tamei. Nishberu, once they are broken, taru, it becomes tar. Chazar v'asa mehen kalim, if you take that broken keli and you fix it back to become a keli, chazru l'tumasan yishana. It returns back to the previous tumah. So we see that by klimatches specifically, the Mishnah says that it returns back to the original tumah. V'ilu gabe kli schuches tnan. But when it comes to glass, the Mishnah says kli eitz, keli made out of wood, kli oir from leather, kli etzem from bone, kli schuches and glassware, pshuteya and tahirin. If it's flatware, it's tar altogether. It's not makabel tumah like metal. Umikableya and tmeyin. If it has a receptacle, then it becomes tamei. Nishberu, if you break it, taharu, it becomes tahar. Chazar v'asamem kelim. If you take the broken pieces and you form of it a keli again, mekabelin tumah mikan ulahaba. Now that it's a keli, it'll be makabel tumah from now going forward. Mikan ulahaba in. So the Gemara is medayik only going from now going forward. It's makabel tumah. Lemafreya loy. However, we don't say that once you take a kli schuches and you put it back together, it takes back the original tumah, it receives back the original tumah that it had before, like a metal keli. Why weren't they machmer regarding this, that it should be similar to a metal keli? And for the Gemara, the reason is as follows. Tumas kli schuches the rabbanon. The whole tumah regarding glass is exedim with the rabbanon. It's not mentioned in the Torah. Tumah yeshana d'Rabbanan. The fact that we bring back a tumah that was there before it was broken, lamafreya, that's also a gzeira d'Rabbanan. B'tumah d'Oraisa, when it comes to a tumah on a metal keli, which is a tumah min ha'Torah, achisu b'Rabbanan tumah. Over there, Rabbanan brought this tumah that it should go back retroactively. The tumah that Rabbanan, since the glass kalim are only tumah with the Rabbanan, lo yachisu la Rabbanan tumah. The Rabbanan did not bring back the original tumah. They weren't geyser this gzeira, which is l'chatchila with the Rabbanan, so they weren't geyser this v'nigeya to glass kalim. So we go back to what we said before. A kli zechuchis, glass keli, has the same halacha like a kli cheres. So far we said with one exception, b'negei to the fact that it's susceptible to tumah from the outside surface, like metal kalim. That's the only exception. Sagt the Gemara weiter, pshuteyen mi letamem. How about another thing? Why don't we compare the glass kalim to metal and be machmer also, that it should be makabel tumah like the metal kalim, that even flat kalim should also become tameh. The hapshute klimatchiv deiraisen. Because the pshute klimatchis, the fact that flat metalware becomes tameh, that's not exerim d'Rabbanan. That's a tumah min ha'Torah. Right, so we said before that we don't take a chumrah midrabanan of the metal kalim and place it on the glass kalim. But the fact that metal kalim that are pashut, that are flat, become tamei, that's min ha'Torah. So why don't we apply that tumah to the kli zechuchis? And for the Gemara of the buhu rabbanan hakeda, the Rabbanan wanted to make a heker regarding the tumah of kli zechuchis, that it should be different than a tumah min ha'Torah. They didn't want you to confuse the kli zechuchis with a tumah min ha'Torah. And reason is, ki heichi d'lo lisruf alayu truma v'kochim. In order that if truma and kochim touches a kli zechuchis which is tamei, it should be clear to you. You should know that it does not make the truma and kochim tamei. You don't burn the truma and the kochim. This gzeira midrabanan regarding the kli zechuchis does not apply to when truma and kochim touch it. You do not have to burn the truma and kochim. We learned yesterday in a Mishnah where it said that there were 6 cases where chachamim will geyser truma, and if truma and kochim touch it, it becomes tameh midrabanan and you have to burn it. Kli zechuchis, although they made this gzeira, but it does not apply to when truma and kochim touch it. You do not have to burn it. So therefore chachamim were lenient in this tumah here, and they did not make it tameh like the kli matchis with the flatware is tameh, in order that you should remember that the whole tumah is a tumah midrabanan.
Why is it metama?
It's
metama eichlin.
Yeah, it's metama eichlin, correct. It's tameh, but not legabe burning truma and kochim. Okay, so this is the first opinion of the Gemara. So far, again, what it comes out is a kli cheres and a kli zechuchis have the same din, besides one exception. By a kli zechuchis, they made a gzeira to be medame, to compare it to metal, that it becomes tamei on the outside. Ravashi says, lo oilam li kli cheres damu. A kli zechuchis is completely the same as a kli cheres. I had a question from a Mishnah in Kalim, that the kli zechuchis should not be tamei on the outside surface if you're comparing it to kli cheres that are not tamei on the outside surface. And for the Gemara, so the explanation is hoyel v'nire toichay kebaroi. Glass is different. Glass is you can see the inside and the outside. So therefore, they weren't machalik between the inside and the outside. Because it's see-through, so therefore the outside is like the inside. By all other kalim, because it's a material that you can't see the outside and the inside together, so therefore the tumah on the inside is only on the inside and not on the outside. That's by kli cheres. When it comes to kli zechuchis, since you could see outside and inside, so therefore they were metameh the outside just like the inside. That was the only reason why they got to be that detailed. They made a distinction, but otherwise it's just like kli cheres. This ends the sugya of kli cheres. The interesting thing is, we're talking over here about the tumah of kli matchis and kli cheres. Generally, the chumrah of the tumah by kli matchis is more than kli cheres. By kli matchis, it's makabel tumah on the outside. It's makabel tumah even if it's a flat keli. Kli cheres is only makabel tumah on the inside, and only if it's a receptacle, not if it's flat. right? And a kli cheres, you have to break in order to be metayer. A kli chuches, a kli matches, you could be metayer in a mikveh. That's a kula and a kli matches. The source, and ma'aviroi, that's another chumrah, correct? Kli cheres has a chumrah that even if it didn't touch, if it just enters into the airspace inside, it's metama. The shaydish of the difference between kli matches and kli cheres is b'negeya to the concept of tumah as it relates to a person. Kli matches and kli cheres, the Rebbe in the Sikha brings this in, and the Rebbe doesn't mamish tight sherois b'negeya to our sugya, but the Rebbe there says that all these concepts of tumah that we talk about here comes and relates and could be understood from the guf of a person. The guf of a person can be compared sometimes to a kli matches, and other times it can be compared to a kli cheres. A kli matches is metal, which is more stubborn. A kli cheres is earthenware, which has more bittul. V'nafshika offer la tia. It's made out of earth. So a kli cheres is more of a keli for holiness because he has bittul. A kli matches is more stubborn. It could be made out of gold, or silver, or any other metal. It in a way is more susceptible to tumah. At the same time, on the other hand, Dafka Kli Matches has more ability, has more power to use his stubbornness to connect to the Eibishter. The Zov and the Kesef is something that can be used for Avos Hashem, for Yiras Hashem, to connect to the Eibishter, so it has a certain advantage. The Kli Cheres does not have that advantage. So there's relative advantages between the Kli Cheres and the Kli Matches, which is the source of the various different susceptibilities of Tumah that they have. Interesting thing. The Rebbe over there in the Sikha brings it when you get to another halacha, but b'chlalus, that's the basis of what this sugi is talking about over here. Just that a chaga of the Shir Rambam of Gimel Prakim these days is in these halachas and hilchas kelim in the Rambam. Ashkacha Pratis, we're learning this now in this time. Okay, now the Gemara goes on to another thing that was mentioned before in Daf Yudalet Amud Beis, a takana that Shimon ben Shatach made. Shimon ben Shatach tikkun. Shimon ben Shatach was masakin ksuba leisha. He was masakin the din of a ksuba for a woman. So I explained it already before. Rashi explains it before on Daf Yudalet Amud Beis. It doesn't mean he was masakin the very halacha of ksuba itself. Rather, he was masakin that all of a person's possessions, that refers to the real estate possessions he has, becomes mishubid. There's a lien to the ksuba. So a person will think twice before he wants to divorce his wife because she could not take from any of his possessions. That's the takana. Now here the Gemara adds another detail that Shimon ben Shatach was misaken. V'gazar tumah al kli matches. He also decreed tumah upon a kli matches, upon a metal keli. Frag the Gemara. Kli matches da'iraisen eno. The tumah on a metal keli is minatayra. You don't need Shimon ben Shatach to make this gzeira. The chsiv achas azov v'sakesa v'goymer. Then that's the pasuk that speaks over there when they were on the Milchama of Midian and they brought back gold kalim and silver kalim, and over there it speaks about the fact that they have to table it in the mikveh because it's tameh. So this is clear in the Torah. And for the Gemara, going back to what we mentioned in Amar Aleph, this gzeira that when you have metal keli that was broken and then was put back together, that the original tumah comes back, lemafreya, that tumah comes back, that gzeira was the gzeira of Shimon ben Shatach. Rav Yudah Marav explained the history of the gzeira. There was a story with Tzion Amalka. Tzion Amalka was the sister of Shimon ben Shatach. She was Yanai HaMelech's wife. And after Yanai HaMelech passed away, she continued being a queen for about 10 years. So there was a story with Tzion Amalka. She'asasa mishte livna. She prepared a huge festive meal for her son. V'nitmu kol keleha. And all of the kalim that were prepared became tameh. Apparently, how does that happen? Apparently what happened was, within this tent or within this house, somebody died, and then you have the tomb of oil, and everything under this roof becomes tameh. So everything became tameh all at once, and she had everything prepared. So what is she going to do now with all of this? So she can theoretically take everything and tovel it in a mikveh. Or she can what you have to do is, over here they were Tommy Betumas mace. So if you Tommy Betumas mace, then what do you have to do? So Rashi brings over here, you have to take the hazav, the ephah para, and you have to sprinkle it on it third day and the seventh day. So you're going to basically have to wait a week until all these kalim could be used again. So she didn't want to wait a week. So what did she do? V'shavrasan, she broke all the kelim. She made a hole in it, so she broke them all. V'nasnasan l'tzayriv, and then she gave it to a smith. V'rischan, and he heated it up. And v'asam en kelim chadashim, and he made new kelim out of them. So this took maybe a day or two, however long it took. She didn't have to wait a full week. That's what happened. Now, so Chachamim said after this incident, and that Rab Shimon Shatach was the one that was masaking this, Yachzeru l'tumasan yishana. You're going to go and give it to a smith and remake the kelim. It goes back to the original tumah. My timer. What's the reason they made this gzeira? Mishum geder mechatas nogoba. The gzeira was made as a geder, as a fence to the halacha that you have to be metayr anything that's tummy betumas mace. You have to sprinkle from the paraduma on it, because if people are going to know that they can just do this, so then people are going to just forget about the whole thing of paraduma. Every time something becomes tummy, you make a hole in it or you smash it, and then you can just make the keli again, and you can ignore the whole paraduma. So they made this gzeira that the tumah comes back, so people should still know they have to use the paraduma. Fragt the Gemara, this is a good reason according to the one that says Loi l'chala tumis amru. This gzeira that the old tumah comes back was not regarding all tumis, elul tumis meis. The gzeira was only said when a taki becomes tamei from a dead body. Bulvad, amru. That's when they said this. So shapir. So then it makes sense. This is the reason for the gzeira. Not to forget about the paraduma. But if this gzeira is true regarding any kind of tumah, whether from a zav, from a sheretz, or anything else, where you don't even need a paraduma, so then ma'ya kelameima. So that can't be the reason that people shouldn't come to forget about the paraduma. So the Gemara here brings two opinions. Amar Abaye says, Gzeire shemelo yikvenu b'chdei tarasei. If a person has to break it, and then he's planning on fixing it and using it again, he might not break the hole of the keli big enough that it should actually be metayired. And Rashi here brings what we learned once before. We learned this in Masechta Brachos, that you have to make it a hole at least as big as a pomegranate. So you might not make the hole large enough. Rava Amar, Rava says, Gzeire shema yoimru tfilu bas yoimima oilala. People might say that when you toivel in a mikveh, what happens when you toivel kelim? So you have to wait until at night in order to be able to use these kelim. But if a person is going to break the kelim and then he's going to use it again that day before it's at night, so then people are going to forget this thing that when a keli becomes tameh, you have to wait until at night. My beinayu, what is the difference between the two pshatim of Rava and Abaye? So the Gemara says, Ike beinayu, the difference is ratzfinu meratziv. When he mamish flattened out the kelim, he took the keli and he didn't stamp break it. He totally flattened it out. So according to the opinion of Abaye, that the chashash is that he didn't make a hole large enough, that chashash still applies. This is what I'm saying now is the second pshat of Rashi. But according to the chashash, that people are going to make the mistake and think that you don't have to wait until at night, in this case where you mamish flatten out the kelim, people are going to notice the difference and they're going to see that in this case you don't have to wait until at night because you mamish flattened out the kelim. But in a regular case, they'll know that you have to wait until at night. So this is the gzeira that Shimon ben Shatach made, beneged to metal kelim, that the tumah comes back. Now the Gemara goes on, Benegeya to the Yud Ches Dvarim. This whole thing began with the Mishnah. Where was it? The Mishnah was on Daf Yud Gimel probably. The Mishnah on Daf Yud Gimel that says that there was 18 things that they made a decree in the attic of Hananya ben Chizkiah. And Beis Shammai's opinion was accepted over Beis Hillel's opinion. So if you keep in count what the Gemara brought until here, so the Gemara brought the Mishnah of Zavin, where it mentioned 10 things. And then the Gemara erased one of them. Tvul Yom the Gemara erased because it's Menat Torah. So we're left with only 9 gzeiros that we know that Chachamim made on that day that Beis Shammai enacted. So the Gemara is going to continue now. What's the 10th? What more did Chachamim make a gzeira on this day? V'idach ma'hi. What other gzeira is there? The Tanan. So the Gemara brings the following Mishnah. And Mishnah Mekvois. So now, before I begin reading, the halacha beneged to mikvahs is, as we saw already many times, mayim she'uvim cannot be used for a mikveh. Drawn water or any water that was received in a keli. The only thing is, water that was received in a keli can't be used for a mikveh if the person is willingly taking that water into a keli. Water that happened to be found in a keli, and it's not the das of the person to accept that water into the keli, could be used for the mikveh. So over here the Gemara is going to discuss a case where a person placed a keli under a pipe where water is running. The Tnan we learned in the Mishnah. Haminiach kelim tachas atziner. A person places kelim under a pipe of water. Lekabo memeng shomim, with the intention to receive rainwater into it. Echad kelim gedolim, whether you put a large keli over there. Echad kelim ketanim, whether you put small kelim there. Vafili kli avonim, kli adoma, whether kelim made out of stone or adoma, earth, kli glolim, dung kelim. Paislin is a mikveh. Any of the water that's received in these kalim cannot be used for the mikveh. Now, the chiddush over here is echad haminiach, whether you placed it there willingly, ve'echad hashecheach, whether you put it there and then you forgot it there. You forgot it there and you forgot about it. Either way, water that came out of the pipe into these kalim become pasul. Divrei Beis Shammai. Beis Hillel metarim b'shecheach. Beis Hillel says if you left it there and you forgot it there, so then the water in those kalim are okay to be used for the mikveh because you didn't intentionally want the water to be received in those kalim. Amar Rab Meir, so Rab Meir said regarding this Mishnah, Nimno v'rabu Beis Shammai al Beis Hillel. Regarding this halacha, they took the count, and Beis Shammai's Talmidim were more than Beis Hillel. So this is the 10th Gzeira that they enacted in that time in the attic of Hananiah ben Chizkiah. Then the Mishnah continues, Umaydim Beis Shammai. Beis Shammai will agree, b'shecheach b'chotzer. If a person left kalim outside in the courtyard, and it rained into these kalim, so then he's going to agree that the water in those kalim could be used for the mikveh. It's only if you put it directly under a pipe, then it can't be used. Shehu tar, then it's going to be tar. Rabbi Yosi in the Mishnah disagrees and says, Adayin machlokes b'mekoymai medes. The original machlokes still remains. The machlokes between Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai. In other words, he's disagreeing with what Rab Meir said before. Rab Meir said this was one of the cases that Beis Shammai's opinion was they were a larger number than Beis Hillel, and it was paskin like Beis Shammai. Rabbi Yosi says no, this was an outstanding machlokes between Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai, and the regular rule that we paskin like Beis Hillel applies over here. Zok the Gemara, Amar Rav Mesharshi. So Rav Mesharshi explains what's the basis of the machlokes between Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai when a person forgot a keli under a pipe. Amar Rav Mesharshi de Bei Rav Omri, they explained by Rav as follows: Hakol maidim, everybody will agree, Keshe nicham b'shas kishur ovim. If a person puts a keli under a pipe when he sees the clouds gathering and it's about to rain, and then he's expecting the water to come out of this pipe, so b'shas kishur ovim tmeim. So the water that comes out of that pipe and enters into the keli, the water becomes tamei, it's not fit for the mikveh. On the other hand, b'shas pizur ovim, if it was a clear day and he put water under the pipe and then he forgot about it, divrei akel tahirim. Everybody will agree that the water from the pipe that comes into that keli is tired because the person totally forgot about it. When are they arguing? When he placed the water under the pipe, he was expecting it to rain, it was cloudy, and he was putting it there for the purpose for the kalim to receive the water. Then the weather changed, and it became a clear day. And now he's not expecting the rain to come out and he forgot about it. And then the clouds came back and it did rain. So Mar Sovar, so the Beis Hillel hold Batla Machshavtai. His original intention that he put the kalim for the water, that's batal, because the day cleared up and he forgot about it. The fact that it then ended up raining again, that's a new thing. We don't connect his previous machshava to what ended up happening if the weather cleared up in between. Mar Sovar, Beis Shammai's opinion is loy batla machshavtai. Since he originally placed it there because it was a cloudy day for the rain, so the water received there, he wanted willingly the water to go into those kalim and therefore can't be used for the mikveh. Now the Gemara goes back to Rabbi Yosi. Rabbi Yosi says you can't count this Mishnah as one of the cases that Beis Shammai's opinion outnumbered Beis Hillel. He says that no, this remained the machlokes and we paskin like Beis Hillel. According to Rabbi Yossi, it says this machlekes remains. So this can't be counted. This is less. This is one less according to Rabbi Yossi. Amar Rav Nachman by Yitzchak. Rav Nachman by Yitzchak says according to Rabbi Yossi, Af b'nois kutim nidois marisasam bei bayom gazro. So this is a halacha of a nida. A nida, of course, becomes tamei, and the halacha is that a nida from any age, any age that she sees any tumah, she becomes tamei. Now, this gzeira, or this halacha, rather, that a nida that sees blood from any age becomes tamei, the kutim, we learned about the kutim before. They are the ones that were megayed at a certain time period. So they kept many halachas, but many halachas they did not keep. This halacha, that even a girl that's younger and sees dam nida becomes tamei, they didn't keep that. So therefore Chachamim knew they didn't keep this halacha. They were geyser on all b'nais kutim that they're considered to be tamei me'ari sasam, from the day they're born. They all are considered to be tamei because they weren't nizar in this, so therefore we can't trust them with any girls to know if they saw tumah or not. So therefore they were geyser on all b'nais kutim me'ari sasam that they are tamei. When was this gzeira made? By Yom Gazra, this gzeira was made in the attic of Hananiah ben Chizkiah when all of these enactments were made. So this is a very interesting type of a gzeira, and Tosfos here points out that this gzeira has to be based on the opinion of Rab Meir, because in the majority cases, roiv girls that are under bas mitzvah, and for sure from the age of birth, are not possible to see any dam nida to make them tamei. But there is a minority. It is a small possibility that a girl that's younger should be able to see dam nida, and according to Rav Meir, v'chayshish l'miyuta. So therefore they were geyser this gzeira according to Rav Meir, since the kutim were not careful with this at all, so we can't trust them, so therefore they were geyser this gzeira that they should all be tamei, and that gzeira was made on this day according to the opinion of Rabbi Yossi. That's the end of the Gemara today.
Which means that tamei?
That tamei, they're like a nida.
Meaning
whatever, all the halachas of a nida. She touches things, she sits on things, she becomes tamei. Yeah.
It's interesting. Rashi says, "Laman dama la yadana eicha."
Where this was said? What's the source of this? Yeah.